pedal people, it's the Pedal Guy here. How you doing? Today what we're going to do is we're going to dive into the NuX Roctary, Rotary, and Polyoctave pedal. But before we get started, please take a second and click on that subscribe button down there so you can stay up to date with all of our videos at the Pedal Guy. Well, we did an unboxing video for the Roctary a little over a year ago as we were getting on board with NuX and getting to know these pedals a little bit more. And we didn't follow it up with an actual pedal demo, so we figured now would be a good a time as any, as we've been just so incredibly busy with this brand over the year. And the cool thing about this pedal is that it's actually three pedals in one, because you have an overdrive, you have an octave, and you also have the Leslie effect. It has a lot of live abilities to it as well, because it has a whole bunch of great secondary functions. Not to mention it also has the expression pedal as well. Let's go ahead and flip to the back here so you can see the back. Oh, there we are. Okay. So on the back you can see that we've got our power supply, we've got our USB port, we've got our stereo output, we have our expression pedal, and we have our input. Now I should mention that this pedal works with guitar, it works with bass, and you can use it with keys. In fact, actually, we did a video where we used the Roctary in one of our vlog videos where we combine synthesizers with pedals to show you what's possible with those. So we'll post a link to that in the video description below, but let's flip to the back to the front here. So let's just go over the basic parameters here of the pedal. So we have the drive, we have the level, this is the overall level. The overdrive is a very simple overdrive, so if you're expecting this to sound like a tube screamer, you're probably going to be a little disappointed, but it's a lot of fun to use. So you possibly might not want to use it. You can just simply turn it off and use your own overdrive, like you know, if you got it like the aforementioned tube screamer or some of the other great overdrive pedals out there. There is an octave section here where you can turn the octave section on or off, where you have an octave below and an octave above. And then at the bottom here, you've got the Leslie effect. So you've got the slow, you've got the fast, you've got the bass horn knob. Now this gives you the balance between the bass, the bass woofer and the horn section of the Leslie cabinet, and then the balance. So at 0%, you're going to hear absolutely none of the Leslie effect, and then you'll be able to adjust that as you go along. Now down here to the bottom, you've got your on-off switch, pretty self-explanatory. You've got your fast switch. So when the fast switch is engaged, what it'll do is it will ramp up from the slow setting to the fast setting. Now you may notice that the LED here at the top that's supposed to symbolize the rotary effect is not really changing at all. In fact, it hasn't changed one little bit. And that's because we have the expression pedal plugged in. So let me just depress the expression pedal here. And you can see that you can actually change that in real time. So if that wasn't, if it wasn't plugged in, then when I hit the fast button, it would start ramping up to the fast speed. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dig into this pedal so you can get a listen to the Roctary and see why this might be a pedal that definitely deserves a spot on your board. This has honestly been the most fun I've had with a pedal without using an amp, if you can believe that. This is going straight from the pedal, from the guitar to the pedal to the mixing board. That's it. There's no trickery in between. We might add a little delay and a little reverb from the mixing board just to kind of give you a bit more of a sense of what's already possible here, but that's all you're going to hear. And also you can see we're using the blue screen here so that we can have a little fun with the chroma key. So let's go ahead and get that going. And now let's dig into the Roctary. Okay, we have got our Roctary plugged in and ready. We are going to just simply go from section to section here so that you can hear everything. So I've got my guitar plugged in. And as mentioned before, we are just going from the guitar to the Roctary to the mixing board. Now we'll probably introduce a little bit of reverb to open up the sound, but the reason we went this way is so that you can check out the stereo effect from the pedal itself, because the real magic of a Leslie is the stereophonic effect and working with the stereo field. Otherwise, it gets kind of boring. You know, why not have a little fun, right? So as you can hear, the guitar is plugged in. We're using an ES335, so we're using the classic humbuckers to give a really nice overall classic rock sound. But there's so many palettes on this pedal, on this guitar, I should say. And of course, we'll kill the microphone too, so you can really hear the pedal by itself. Let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first section here is the overdrive section. Now, as I mentioned before, it is one knob for overdrive. So if you're expecting this to be the best sounding overdrive you've ever heard in your life, I wouldn't set my expectations quite that high. I'd probably just say this is more of a utility overdrive. It sounds really good once you start combining it with the Leslie and with the octaves. However, just keep in mind that's not it's not going to be a replacement for your tube screamer is what I'm getting at here. So let's go ahead and just turn it on. We don't hear anything yet. That's because we haven't assigned any overdrive. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and kill the mic, and then I'll just start playing an open A and start making adjustments to the drive so you can see for yourself, where you can hear for yourself, I should say, how this sounds. So let's go. Obviously, yes, it's a very easy, a very utilitarian overdrive. It's not meant to be a replacement for your favorite overdrive on your board. But as you can hear, you can come up with some pretty interesting tones. Now, here's one of the things, okay? So you're probably saying to yourself, okay, pedal guy, so so what's the problem here? Why does it sound so closed? Well, it's because we're not using an amp in a cabinet. So what we can do to kind of compensate for that is we can put a little reverb on it. Okay, and now we've got some reverb. So if I kill the mic and you just listen to just the guitar now through the Roctary with a little bit of reverb from the mixing console, you get a much different sound, I think. A much more open sound. Okay, so that sounds a little more realistic, right? Again, like every overdrive, flavor to taste. So you may not want to go quite that deep. You might want to back off on that a little bit. Okay, so that's a pretty decent sound. We have the level, and well, that's kind of self-explanatory. All right, now that we have gone ahead and dug into the drive section, let's move over to the octave section. Now, there are two octaves. There is an octave below and an octave above. To turn on the octave section, all you have to do is just use the octave on switch here at the top and turn that on. But one thing to keep in mind is that it is going to be nothing but octave once you turn this on. So you won't hear any more of the dry signal. You're just going to hear the octave. But don't worry, folks. I got a solution for you. Let me go ahead and turn it on here. And well, hey, we don't hear anything at all. Well, that's because we haven't turned up any of the octaves yet. So let's go ahead with the octave, the below octave first, the octave 1 down. Okay, very good for obviously creating bass lines. Now, these octaves are very strong. I would very strongly urge you to just flavor them to taste. Don't do anything too crazy. And the idea of the octave is so when you create a great octave mix between the low and the high, you get a great sort of rock organ sound, especially if you put a little overdrive behind it, which we'll get into that. And then you combine that with the Leslie cabinet, and you've got something that sounds really full and open. And again, this works for bass, it works for guitar, and it works for keys. So it's not just one pedal or one instrument sort of pedal. Okay, so without talking any more about it, let's just go ahead and start making some adjustments. Like I said, this is a really cool pedal, and that is just a ton of fun to play with. I'm sure you're probably asking yourself at this point, well, hey, pedal guy, the octave sounds great and everything, but what if I want to hear some dry signal along with that? Because that would sound really good, especially when you got the overdrive going. If you could have some dry signal to go along with that. So if you could have a little bit of this mixed in with the octave section. Well, it's very easy to do. What you do is you activate a secondary function of the pedal called kill dry. And what that does is it mixes in the dry signal along with the octave +1 knob. So what I'll do is turn the octave -1 all the way down. So you're just hearing just the octave +1 sound. Okay, so to turn it on, all you have to do is just hold the fast switch down. And what I'll do before I do this is I'll actually play a note. Let me play an open A. Now I'm going to hold the fast switch down and adjust the knob, the +1 knob to 0. And then I'm going to adjust it a little bit more back up, and all of a sudden, I now have a mixture of the dry signal along with the octave +1. So if I dirty it up a little bit, now I have kind of almost a 12-string effect. And we can bring the octave -1 back in. So I'll kill the mic now so you can hear for yourself. Now, if we wanted to turn that off and go back to square one again, very easy to do. Just simply hold the fast button down again and make an adjustment with the octave +1, and now we're back at square one again. So you can just hear it by itself. If I want to turn it back on, hold the fast button down again. And now we're back to it. So it's pretty cool, right? I mean, that's alone, that's worth the price of admission alone right there. Okay, now that we've covered the drive section and the octave section, we now have the rotary section. So we still have the octaves turned on, so I'm going to go ahead and turn those off so that we have a pure tone to work with. Additionally, we'll keep the drive down. What I've done is I've also unplugged the expression pedal from the back. Now, the reason I've done that is because the expression pedal, when it's plugged in, will take over certain parameters on the pedal itself as it pertains to the rotary effect. So we kind of want to approach this without the expression pedal, but then we'll plug it back in, and you can see why you need to use an expression pedal with this product. Anyway, okay, so very simple, straightforward. You have your slow knob, which, as you can see, you just take a look at the LED as I'm making the adjustment. You can see that it changes along with the tempo set by the slow knob. Then there's the fast knob. Now you can make a whole bunch of adjustments to this right now, and it's not going to do a thing, and that's because we don't have the fast button switched. Once you switch it on, it starts rotating set to wherever the fast knob is. And to turn it off, you just simply press that button again. Now, the next knob over is the bass and horn, and this is a mix knob between the woofer and the horn. And we'll kill the mic and we go into it, I'll show you what that's all about. And then there's the balance knob, and this goes between dry and wet, and all points in between. What I'll do at this point is just start playing around with the knobs a little bit. I'm going to kill the microphone so you can hear what it sounds like. We'll use the fast knob a little bit, and then I'll talk about a couple of the special features. All right, well, that's really cool. I know we're just noodling a little bit here, but I'm hoping you're hearing the possibilities of what you can do with the rotary effect here. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of secondary functions as well, so I'm going to turn that level back down. Now, let's say you've got the fast engaged. What I'm going to show you is a function called break. And what break does is it will it'll turn off the rotary altogether. So just like a brake on a car, it's just going to bring it to a stop. So let me play an open A. Now you hold down the on-off switch and the fast knob simultaneously. Okay. No more rotary. Now we just simply hit the fast button again. Now the next section I'm going to show you is a secondary function of the rotary effect, which is the acceleration or the rising speed. To demonstrate this, let's just take the slow all the way down to say the bottom value, and let's bring the fast all the way to its maximum value. So when I go from slow to fast, by default, it takes about a second or so before it hits the maximum speed. What if I wanted that to happen faster though? That's what the acceleration secondary function does. So what I can do is shorten the distance between the slow and the fast transition. To do that, you just hold the fast button down and you use the slow knob to set how slow or how fast you want it to transition between the slow and fast. So at its lowest setting, it's not going to make any difference at all. But if I take that and I move it all the way up to, say, 3 o'clock, or let's say I just move it to noon, then it's going to go that much faster from slow to fast. I'll show you what I mean. So again, here's what it sounds like on default. Now, if I hold the fast knob down and I make adjustments with the slow, now I turn the fast off again. Okay, here is slow to fast with a shorter transition time. So we could go from really slow to fast in a very short transition time. Now let's say we wanted that to be really, really short. So hold the fast switch down again and move that slow knob so it's at about the 3 o'clock position. And now take that sucker back down to the lowest possible setting. So just to review, hold the fast switch down and set the transition time with the slow knob. At its lowest setting, this is what it'll sound like when you go from slow to fast. But with working with that function, hold the fast switch down and let's bring it up to 3 o'clock. Turn off the fast. Let's bring it down to its lowest setting again. That is a really cool feature. Okay, at this point, we now have the guitar is totally dry. Can't hear it. You can hear it through a microphone, though. The guitar is totally dry. And I've put a little bit of reverb and delay from the mixing board just to kind of give you a better idea of what's possible here. So I'll kill the mic and let's start making some noise. Yeah, so I love this pedal. I have to be honest. I mean, I know we're trying to be impartial with some of the videos that we do here. You know, we try to be impartial with the pedals, but what can I say? When it's dialed in right and it's just like you're just vibing off of this thing, it's just so much fun. And at the price point, honestly, you can't really go wrong. So the Roctary is, I think, a welcome addition to anybody's pedal board, short of somebody who plays speed metal or something like that, because this obviously wouldn't sound that good there. But it works on guitar, it works on bass, it works on keys. Have a listen to it on the synth video that we did. But for more information on this pedal and the other pedals that we carry, please visit us at ThePedalGuy.com. Also be sure to follow us on Facebook and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks and have a great day.